I was a little young, when the summertime came, there were two things that would excite me. Going to go see my grandmother in D.C. and going to Auntie and Uncle Al's house. That was a joy, because I knew I was going to see my cousins. Now, I represent the second level of cousins, of nieces and nephews, of Delia and Ray Jones. There's a ton of us, so I won't name them all, but those people who know my family know that we travel in packs, in little sections or packs of families. Tons of cousins. For me, my little pack, Tracy, Gray, Rachel, Gray, lots of ways. Rob, Lee, Shelly Lease. That was our little pack. Kind of traveled around, people knew we were coming, and we were all very excited. Going to Auntie and Uncle Al's house when I was young, it was always open. You knew, as soon as you walked in the door, you would get nothing but warmth and love. Lots of confusion, lots of food, but warmth and love. Running inside and outside, up to the back, hearing her yell someone in the background, "Don't let that front door bang shut." We always did, regardless, we shut it quietly the first time, and then right after that, we just bang shut, bang shut, bang shut. But she would fuss at that, but it wasn't real fuss. It was just love. That is what I want to speak to, the love of my auntie. We've said Delia, and that's her name. But Aunt Dee, she was to me, and to many of us. All I could think of was every time I saw her, there was nothing but warmth in her eyes and a smile on her face. I moved to Florida 17, 18 years ago now, I think, 16, 17. And I would come up here every once in a while for business, and I knew I couldn't see everybody. I couldn't see all of my cousins, I couldn't see all of my aunts, but I knew I was going there. And she always had a hug and warmth, good food. I called her once, I was just telling Deb yesterday, you know, I was running around, I had a lot to do. I called Aunt Dee, and she's like, "I'm making a chicken." Okay, I'll be over. Could not go back up for that because I couldn't. It wasn't even just about the food. It was the fact that she put so much love in everything she did for everyone. So I want to represent the grand nieces and nephews with pride and love, and send out my condolences to my lovely godmother, that's my godmother, and to Donna and Jody as well, the whole front row. I love you all, and thank you very much.
All right, to my family, whom I love dearly. I'm somewhat prepared, but not fully prepared. Now, my sister Sharita, as you know, she is in England. She lives in London or outside of London. So she did send a note to Deborah, Donna, Jody, and the rest of the family. Then I'll put my little bit in afterwards. To me, Aunt Delia was more than just a great aunt. She was the glue that kept us together while growing up on Mount Pleasant Avenue. 1058 Mount Pleasant Avenue. She shared her home, her family, her love to us and to our mother. She spoiled us with sweets, and if it weren't for her, we would never enjoy fish. That's where we had to go, because our mother was not a fan of fish and did not cook it often, I'll say. She did cook it, but not often. I always felt special when we would go to the Gospel Echoes concerts, because my Aunt Delia was at the piano and my Aunt Peggy was singing with her. And to this day, when I hear that song, "We've Come This Far by Faith," it does something to me. And my kids look at me and wonder why it affects me the way it does. And they ask, "Well, who is that song by?" I tell them that's by the Gospel Echoes. So, My sister says when she went off to college, Aunt Delia would send her care packages. Oh, how I loved her cakes. She always baked for me, and she knew I loved the secret cake bond they shared. She made an awkward child with ambition feel special and always remember my birthday or any special occasions. My most recent and treasured moment was when she flew to London with over 20 other family members to celebrate my wedding. She was the belle of the ball, nearly stealing all the attention and photo opportunities. She was, as they say, sharp, but that wasn't anything unusual. Aunt Delia was always sharply put together. Not once, but twice she made trips to London. She came over with Winston, my mother Daisy, Aunt Anna, Auntie Carolyn, and myself, and her beloved nephew Dawood, all to open her restaurant. Yet again, a family affair. 5 generations of my family once again pulling together to show love to me. I will truly, truly miss my great auntie Delia. Katrina and Kristen will miss their great auntie. Their kids, my grandkids, will miss the love and history from their great auntie. Aunt Dee, you were always in our heart. Sharita Thomas Jones. Now, on behalf of my other sister Cindy, who is in Georgia and could not make it, and my brother Kurt, I just want to express to Donna and Debbie the love that we have. It's a special love that goes back so many years. I mean, we actually lived at 1058 for, quite a while when we did not have a home in Mount Pleasant. So the love that came out of that home is what molded us, or I'm speaking for me, molded me for what I feel I am today. I mean, I cut grass a certain way. Because at 1058, I had to cut grass a certain way. And that's all good, because when I cut that grass, there was a fish sandwich on the backside. I mean, there's just little things that, at that address of how I grew up. And one thing special about my Aunt Dee, the love for music, I just naturally thought that in this family, we all thought we could sing, and probably we all think we can sing. But music was really an important part of this family. So back in the 80s, I used to have a band, and Pastor, he knows. He had just asked me, do I still play the saxophone? But this band I had, and I fancied myself writing music. So I had this song that I had written, and the band just wasn't getting it. I had put it together, but the band wasn't getting it. So I knew what I had to do. I went to my Aunt Dee, there were lyrics, and I sat down at the piano with my Aunt Dee, and sure enough, I said, Aunt Dee, I need this to have a reggae feel. She knew exactly what I was talking about. And she put it down on the piano. I taped it, we took it back to the band, and sure enough, we played that song. That's the kind of things that Aunt Delia was about. And one more story, after I grew up into a man, got married, and had kids, I remember one of the last family reunions that we had at 1058. So I had my middle child, I guess she was about 8, and she was getting around pretty good, or maybe 11. And I thought, well, I'm gonna talk to Aunt Dee and get some advice, how to, be a better father and control this child of mine. So I said, Aunt Dee, this is going on. She looked at me, and she said, boy, you better get with it. I'm like, that's not exactly what I'm thinking. I thought she'd be more, but that was Aunt Dee. She never fell behind. She was always out front, and for that I love her.
Good afternoon.